Hey sis, hey sis, hey. You are tuned into 101 TKO Radio, and this is the She Wins Radio Show with your favorite coach, Andromeda, coming to you every Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., bringing you information, inspiration, entertainment, and the game plan to win in life and business. If you are tuning in with me today, I just want to say thank you. I know that this time of year can be very busy. This time of year can also be very sleepy. We have talked about how, this time of year we can have seasonal depression where we just kind of want to lay around. We don't want to do nothing. We don't want to be bothered. So if you took a moment to tune in today, I am so absolutely grateful for you. We're going to have a really, really good show today. Today's show is we are talking about how to get and stay married. We're talking about love and marriage and relationships. I have an awesome special guest here with me today, that is going to really help me to delve into some really good questions about marriage and relationships. I mean, it seems these days that, the squiggly line is coming for a lot of relationships, right? Like we are seeing people who we're rooting for their marriage. We're rooting for them to be successful. We even may call them relationship goals. And then next thing we know, we look around and we're seeing the red squiggly line between them on the shade room, right? So what we definitely want to do is to get some insight into how we can maintain strong relationships, how we can even know, like, is this a boyfriend you're entertaining or is it a husband, right? There are some things that we need to know. So we're definitely going to be getting into that. But before we jump into that, before my special guest comes in, I definitely, want to go through the rundown of some things that we usually do on the show. First things first is I shared with you that this month's challenge in the She Wins Society community is that we are focusing on mastering one thing this month, right? Like if you are feeling like this year you didn't quite accomplish all of your goals, if you felt like you were all over the place, this is really a good time to just sit still with yourself and reflect and think about what is that one area of your life that you may be neglecting or that one thing that you've been avoiding doing because you feel like it's difficult, and just kind of stop the multitasking, stop trying to do all of the things, and just get very, very focused on what is that one area of your life that, again, once you fix that area, once you improve in that area, it's going to transform all the other areas of your life. So I challenge us to really think about that and then get laser focused. Like get your tunnel vision on and focus on that thing. That might, for some of us, that might be our health. As a life coach, I share with my community that we hear often around this time of year too about finishing the year strong, right? Finish the year strong, finish the year strong. People are rushing to like launch that new thing or achieve that accomplishment. However, finishing the year strong could for you look like getting some rest and refilling your cup, sis, right? Because we know that at the top of the year, that's when things start getting moving again. And this time of year is a time of year we have a little bit more grace to slow down, right? So if that is the case for you, like if you feel like you're tired, you feel like you're getting close to burnt out, if you feel like when the new year starts, you're not going to have the capacity to actually do all the things that you want, take some time to sit your butt down and refill your cup. Get some rest, okay? Also, finishing the year strong for you might look like just focusing on your health, right? That might be the one thing that you need to focus on this month so that you can start the year strong. You need you to win. You probably have heard me say this numerous of times before. You need you to win. So as myself, as a business owner, I definitely subscribe to the idea that this journey of life that we're on is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And if you think about a marathon, right, how do you have to train for a marathon? You are not going to be able to go that far on this journey if you are not healthy, right? If you don't take time to actually strengthen your body, to make sure that you are mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually well. And so that is one way to finish the year strong, is to really just, again, make sure that you have some routines in place, you have some systems in place, you have some things in place that are going to make life easier for you, make it where you have more time to focus on your self-care. All right. Now let's get into our national days. Y'all know we do this every Tuesday. We want to see what people are celebrating on this specific day. And shout out to you if you have a birthday today, or you are celebrating a win today, or you have an anniversary today. Shout out to you. Happy birthday, happy anniversary. Congratulations. Okay. So today's national holidays are today is National Oatmeal Muffin Day, in case you did not know. Today is also National Hard Candy Day. So these are our days today. We didn't have too many national days today. Just in case you didn't know, I'm gonna share with you tomorrow since we're gonna be here together. Tomorrow is Go Caroling Day. Have y'all ever gone caroling? I have not ever in my life done that. Done that. I'm not sure if I actually want to do that, but if you do, tomorrow is National Go Caroling Day. It's also National Sangria Day and International Human Solidarity Day. I absolutely love that. International Human Solidarity Day seeks to celebrate the world's unity and diversity. It's also a day to raise awareness about the importance of solidarity. Solidarity is defined as an awareness of shared interests and objectives that create a psychological sense of unity. Solidarity also refers to the ties in a society that bond people together as one. I definitely think this is a time for us to be keeping our minds in a position of being open enough to have solidarity with other people, to be able to accept other people's differences. Because as we see in the world today, we could definitely have more peace in the world, right? We could definitely have more understanding of other people and their differences. We can definitely have more diversity and inclusion. I definitely have been seeing some things in the news where people are trying to like get rid of these initiatives for diversity and inclusion. Let's not let that happen, y'all. Okay, we know that we have fought for a very long time to get ourselves in certain positions, and I feel like some people are trying to roll all of this hard work that we've done back. We're not gonna let that happen, right? We're gonna keep pushing for a world that is one that is loving and caring and compassionate of all people, and understanding that all people, no matter where they come from, no matter what they look like, they have the human right to be safe, to have health care, to have opportunity, to have freedom, right? And so we definitely want to keep our prayers up for those who are struggling, who are suffering, who are in the midst of war, right? It's just so many things happening in the world, but we have to do our part to keep pushing for, again, solidarity. So definitely want to join in on this celebration of International Human Solidarity Day, and that is tomorrow. So if you want to observe that day, the UN encourages new initiatives for poverty eradication. The day serves as a reminder to governments to respect their commitments to international agreements. Okay, come on now. I know y'all hear me on that. The day serves as a reminder to governments to respect their commitments to international agreements. We definitely see some people in the world doing what they want to do. Okay. Events are held all over the world to promote the importance of solidarity. These events include presentations, seminars, conferences, and roundtable discussions. Many of these events also focus on how to combat poverty. To participate, think about what solidarity means to you and why it's so important. Donate to a relief organization that helps lift people out of poverty. Find ways to help the poor in your community. If you have much, think of things you can donate to those who don't have a lot. And I definitely want to encourage us to do that, right? Get in that house and start decluttering. If there is something that you didn't wear all year, just donate it. Okay, if there's something you didn't use all year, like it's been sitting in your closet connecting dust, see if somebody else can use that thing. And then find like-minded people in your community who also want to help those in need. All right, so definitely want us to keep that in mind. Continuing this conversation about today's theme, I want to get into some couples that have been married for longer than 15 years, because again, I think that it's becoming more and more of a rare thing, unfortunately. Like people getting married, we hear the conversations where people are starting to say things like marriage is just a piece of paper. As somebody who has been married for more than 10 years, I can tell you marriage is definitely much more than just a piece of paper. We're hearing people who, say that they don't find the value in getting married anymore. And then again, we're seeing people who get married and we're rooting for them. We're calling them relationship goals. And then next thing we know, we're finding out more about their marriage than we really wanted to know. Speaking of like our good sis Jada and Will, I know that a lot of us, have felt some sort of disappointment or betrayal when it came to what we thought we knew about their relationship versus what it actually is. So let's talk about some couples that have been married longer than 15 years. Because I think we need to be inspired. We need to be reminded that real love does exist. Marriage, a long-lasting marriage is possible. Like, you just got to find the right person. And so one of those people is Omar and Keisha Epps. I love them. We don't hear much about them, right? Like they are not on the blogs. Nobody knows what's going on with them. They are minding their good marriage business. And I love that for them. So Omar and Keisha Epps, Keisha Epps is a former total singer, and her actor, Omar Epps, have been married for more than 15 years. They live in California, and they have a daughter who was born in 2004 and a son who was born in 2007. And then Omar has a daughter who was born from a previous relationship. But this beautiful black couple has been married for more than 15 years. They stayed out of the spotlight. And if I really could think about one thing that we see as a commonality, just keep your marriage private and keep it sacred and keep it just for you. Another couple that we can definitely think of that does that is Courtney B. Vance and Angela Bassett. Like, we love some Angela Bassett, right, y'all? Like, she is the queen. She is like the forever beautiful queen of our life, of our world, of our generation, right? We love Angela Bassett. And she's married to Courtney B. Vance, which we know Courtney B. Vance from several different things that he's played in, from The Preacher's Wife. Hey, Tashawn, I see you watching, sis, from YouTube. Um, but yeah, so Courtney B. Vance, we know him from The Preacher's Wife and other movies, but they have been married since 1997. And if y'all didn't know, Angela Bassett and Courtney B. Vance had twins in 2006. Did y'all know that? I don't feel like I've ever seen their kids. Look, everybody in the station like, oh, no, we didn't know that. But yeah, she has twins. And so, like, for me, Angela Bassett and Beyonce have like the same vibe when it comes to like just keeping their lives private. Like, they just show you, like, this is my gift. When I show up on that stage or on that screen, I'm gonna give you the business. Okay, like, you're gonna see my talent, you're gonna see my gifts. I'm not gonna leave any crumbs. Okay. But when they go home to their families, they thoroughly enjoy minding their own business and keeping their business private. Like, Beyonce gonna tell you what she wants you to say, what she wants you to know through her music, right? Through her movies and things like that. But outside of that, she keeps her relationship private, and I love that for them. When I got married, that was one of the pieces of advice that I got from other people who had been married before or were currently married, and it was like, keep people out your business. That was like one of the main things. Do not go telling your business to everybody in the world about your marriage, because here's the thing about that. When you are upset with your spouse and you go and tell other people about it, other people might be less forgiving than you are if you all decide to continue your marriage. Now you got people in your ear talking, oh, but remember when he did this and remember when he did that. Oh, that ninja ain't no good. Like, but that's your husband. So it's best for y'all to have like a therapist, you to have a therapist, he to have a therapist, and y'all have a couples therapist, than for you to be telling other people business about your relationship. Another couple that's been together for quite some time, since 1995, Morris Chestnut and Pam Bice. So Morris Chestnut and his wife have been married since 1995, and he says, I have been with my wife for a number of years now, and the number one thing that keeps us strong is a mutual respect that is first and foremost. I love that. Mutual respect, definitely necessary. And we're going to get into that more. Let's see who else we got on here. Who else we have on here? I don't think I wrote them down, but we know Boris Kojo and Nicole Ari Parker. We definitely love them together, right? They are like one of the cutest couples alive, for sure. They've been together for a long, long time. They have two kids together. We've seen him over the years be very supportive of her, and she be very supportive of him. Also, LL Cool J and his wife Simone Smith. They've been together for a while. Viola Davis and her husband Julius Timmon have been together for a long time. TD and Serena Jakes. Okay. The preacher and the preacher's wife. TD and Serena Jakes have been married since 1981. 1981. That was before I was even born. That is a long, long, long time. Okay. I pray that me and my husband are able to experience that. Actually, running back Boris and Nicole, they met and fell in love on the set of Soul Food, on the Soul Food series. And they said it was love at first sight. They married in 2005 in Germany. And of course, as I shared, they have two beautiful children together. And then our good favorite, Michelle Obama and President Barack Obama. They had married in 1992 and have been Black Glove goals for plenty of people around the world, for sure. We definitely love to see those two in the White House. We love to see Michelle showing up in all of her Black girl magic whenever she does pop out on the scene. And so they are definitely couples goals. And I struggle sometimes with saying couples goals, because I do believe that nobody ever really knows what's going on in anybody's marriage, right? And so I don't put these people on a pedestal in the sense that I would feel a sense of betrayal if they were ever to separate, because people are human and life happens. You know what I mean? So I think that there are goals in the sense that they have been able to sustain a marriage for as long as they have. Like, that takes work. Marriage is work. Like, when you think about any relationship that you've ever had in life, whether it's a employee or employer employee relationship, it's a friendship relationship, it's a dating relationship, like every relationship that you ever have in life takes work. And many of us struggle with getting bored, right? Like, I remember I had so many jobs when I was young because I would get bored. Like, or the people around me would start getting on my nerves. I'm like, I'm over this, I'm done with this. So when you think about the commitment you have to stay in a marriage for 30 years, like, that is real commitment, determination, and dedication to a person, despite their imperfections, despite, the differences that you all have, because people are going to be different. I don't care how much of a soulmate that they are. Your spouse came from a different upbringing. Your spouse is a different gender most of the time. Your spouse has different views. Men and women are generally different in the way that we think. So there's going to be a part of you that has to be willing to compromise, have some understanding, acceptance of the differences in your marriage. Okay. So we're going to keep this conversation going. How much more time do I have before we have a break, y'all? I don't want to get into this next thing. 1 minute? Okay. So before we go on break, I did want to touch on really quickly some separations that have unfortunately occurred in 2023. Now, Cardi B and Offset are not officially divorced as far as we know, but we do know that Cardi recently said that she is single. That's sad. And she's really been going that off on him on social media, unfortunately. So she's been breaking down and basically calling him names. I'm not going to say them on air. BN. Y'all can try to figure that out. And she accused him of playing in her face when she is in a most vulnerable state. She said, "This MF really likes to play games with me when I'm at my most vulnerable time, when I'm not the most confident. He likes to play games with me because he knows I'm not an easy girl. Yesterday, I could have been out. He knows I'm in my house, and I really been sparring you," Cardi asserted, her anger growing with every word. This is tough. And so what I want to say is this. Cardi B, from the time that she has been on the scene, has been very vulnerable throughout all of her challenges. So when people say, like, "Oh, you should keep that to yourself," that's really not who she is, right? She's been very vulnerable with us about who she is and what her thoughts are and feelings are for a long, long time. I have compassion for her because I think we all know what it feels like to be going through a breakup. And I think that we all can say there were moments in life when we were heartbroken and we didn't make the best decisions, right? Like, some of us have cut some tires. Some of us have put some sugar in some tank. Not me. I'm just saying some of us have done some things when we were heartbroken. So let's not be shady to Cardi for getting on Instagram and pouring her heart out and breaking down, because she's human and she had a moment, and it's really truly okay, because we all have moments like that, right? All right, so we're gonna take a quick break, y'all. We're gonna come back and keep talking about some of these couples that have not necessarily success time, and some other things that we've learned from other couples, and then we're gonna bring on our special guest. All right, so you are locked into 101 TKO Radio. This is the She Wins Radio Show. Hey sis, hey, hey sis, hey. You are tuned into 101 TKO Radio, and this is the She Wins Radio Show with your favorite coach, Andromeda. If you are watching live from YouTube or Facebook, then you see that our special guest is here at the station. Shonda Brown White is here, y'all. Woo, woo, woo. Okay, so.
Hey.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
So here's what I want to tell you before we get started with this conversation. I want to tell you the phone number, 678-439-7419. That is how you can call in and contribute your thoughts to this conversation that we are going to be having about how to get and stay married. So if you are a woman who is currently married or a woman who wants to be married, this show is for you. This segment is for you. You want to make sure that you are locked in, tuned in. But before we went back to the break, I was going to share with you some couples that unfortunately, they ended their marriages in 2023. And the reason why I'm going to share that with you is because something that Michelle Obama said. So we know that Deion Sanders and Tracy Edmonds separated this year. Obviously, we know that Jenny Mai and Jeezy separated this year. We've been seeing some stuff about, oh goodness, why am that lady's name escaping me from Real Housewives of Atlanta? Wig by wig.
Oh my gosh, and I should know this. Nene? Not Nene.
The one she said about by wig too. She an OG. She not on the show anymore.
Oh god.
Is it Kim?
Oh,
you know her
daughter married from the Five Temptations, Cynthia.
Oh no, not Cynthia.
No.
It's the white one.
Oh, Kim. Oh, you should have with that.
So they've been teetering on whether they separate or not. It's been a hot mess. Yeah, we don't know if they are. You know her name. You look like you know her name. Kim, right?
Kim's
okay. Kim, yes. Mm-hmm. They've been teetering on divorce for a while. I don't know what they're doing.
What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. Khadijah Hawk and Bobby McRae. Were they actually ever married?
I don't know who that is.
Okay, so Khadijah is one of the twins from ATL. She friends with Khloe Kardashian.
Her and Malika or whatever. Oh.
So I didn't know.
I didn't know about that.
Britney Spears and Sam Asghari, that marriage ended as quickly as it started. And yeah, so I mean, there's some other people in here. I'm not gonna really go over them. But the reason why I wanted to just share that, some people just did not make it to the end of 2023. And if I'm being honest with y'all, I think that since the pandemic occurred, I think that a lot of marriages experienced some things that they didn't quite expect and that might have led them to separating. Marriage is not easy. Mm-hmm. It's just simply not easy. It takes work. But I wanted to share something with you that Michelle Obama said so that y'all can understand that marriage does take work. And Michelle said last year, I think she said this last year, mm-hmm. She said she could not stand her husband for about a decade while their children were little. That's a long time to not be able to stand your husband. Time. 10 years of not being able to stand him?
Yeah.
Yikes. Mm. Yikes. That sounds painful. But again, I mean, I think that's real because if you think about how many people have those moments or seasons in their marriage where I can't stand you. Maybe that looks like 3 months for them or 6 months for them, and they're already headed to the divorce court. Mm-hmm. I'm done with you. Mm-hmm. Michelle stuck in there for 10 years of not being able to stand her husband.
That's a long time.
That's a long time. I don't know. I don't know if I'm set up for that. However, she also said that a lot of young people quit on marriage over things that are just a part of the commitment. She said, we've been married for 30 years. If I fell out with him for 10 and we had great 20 years, I'd take those odds anytime. That's what she says. And I just think that, Michelle is cut from a different cloth. She comes from a different generation where the commitment of marriage, it just means something more than I think that it does these days. I think that a lot of times these days, people are not getting married for the right reasons.
100%.
Right? Yep. People are getting married because they like the idea of marriage. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. People are getting married because they want to have the content for social media, mm-hmm. right? People get married because they think it's cute. People are getting married because they like that person a lot. Not understanding that the honeymoon phase will,
Yeah.
it will go away.
Or they get married thinking that it's going to change things.
Ooh,
And it's not.
That's good. Ooh, okay. So listen, I said all that to
We'll
say.
get into that later.
Yes, I said all of that to say. Now that we have our special guest in the building, okay, Shonda Brown White is the author of Don't Be a Wife to a Boyfriend and a wife of 15 years, who, by the way, her husband is in the studio with her, which I love that. I love that. Shout out to the supportive husbands. Okay, they exist. And so we're going to talk to her about a few things today. But before we do that, Shonda, I would love for you to just tell people more about you, who you are, what you do, anything you want us to know.
Yes, but before I say that, can we first give it up to you on having your own radio show? Yay! Cue the yes. Thank you. I'm so happy for you. Congratulations. You always are speaking empowerment and you're always motivating others, and especially women. And a lot of people will say that, but you live that, you breathe that, and you mean it. And so I just want to give you your flowers publicly and say thank you, because I do not take it lightly that you invited me here. You know a lot of people, you have a lot of great connections, but I am so thankful that even in some of my darkest hours, our friendship has remained and still gone through and remained stable. And so I just want to thank you, and I appreciate you, because I know that you could have had anybody on here. So I'm appreciative, and I'm so proud of you. So yes, had to say that first.
Thank you. Thank you, sis. Oh my goodness.
That's real. On the real.
I'm not gonna cry.
No tears today.
I'm gonna cry
Lord,
later.
I can't
cry in the car.
Now, what was your question? I'm sorry.
I would love for you to just tell the people who you are, what you do, anything you want to know about you.
Yes, I am happily married for 15 years, together 17. I originally from Kentucky. That's my original hometown. And Atlanta, of course, is my second home. Have been here for a long time now. And I am I'm a leader of a production team by day for a corporation. And on the side, I have written books. I've written for national publications. And I had a little show for a little bit, Wives Wind Down. Shout out to the Wives Wind Down family, which you were a wonderful special guest. Some of those things have been on pause due to life's priorities, and that's okay. But I am still passionate about encouraging and empowering women through life and love, real talk. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Okay, so I'm not gonna put you on the spot right now, but at the end of the show, I definitely will be asking you what we have to look forward to in 2020.
Okay, I'll try to have an answer.
Okay, I know you just like living
life. Be life.
I know.
And you think you have plans, and then the Lord's like, skirt. So we'll see.
If that ain't the truth, listen. I was sharing with my community the other day how I hadn't done a vision board in a few years for that reason right there. Lord, just have your way.
Sometimes that's the prayer, because we get so caught up in and I'm with you, sis. I'm like, vision boards were my thing every year for at least the last 10 or so years. And like you said, the last few, you just Lord, have your way. I'm not chasing it. Whatever you bring to me, let it be clear. Let it just be clear to me. Let it be in alignment with what you have for me. That is the prayer at this point.
Yes. Ooh. Yes. Say that again, sis.
Let it be in alignment with what you have for me. Because we can think we want something, and we think that that's what we're supposed to be doing, but it's have we asked God about that? Is that what God wants us to do? Because it may be completely different from what He is saying and what He's provisioned for our lives. So it has to be in alignment with Him. That is the prayer. Because you go through things sometimes, you're like, well, I didn't see that coming.
At all.
So what's happening?
Right. I didn't see it coming. I asked for that.
I didn't ask
that
for
was not on my vision board.
Right. Where's the vision board, Lord? So then you're like, you know what, God? Let it be in your alignment.
That's it.
That's it.
Have your way. Surrender. Surrender. Okay. So first question I want to ask you, sis, because you did write a book.
Yes.
How to, or Don't Be a Wife to a Boyfriend some years ago. And that was a best-selling book.
Yes. I have sold more than 10,000 copies worldwide. I don't know who in Africa, Jamaica, Australia, Europe. I don't know who is reading my book, but somebody's reading my book, and they're still reading it because I'm still getting royalties, still having sales.
Amazing.
Nothing but God. Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Nothing but God.
Well, I mean, the title itself, I think that a lot of women can relate to that, right? I don't even got to get into the book. I can just look at the title and be like, yeah, don't be a wife to a boyfriend. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you know when he's a husband or just a boyfriend? How do you know?
Again, that's a conversation between you and the Lord, because your friends sometimes can see things and you're like, I don't know if F could be for me, but you know how we say, do you, boo? But you really do have to ask the Lord first and foremost to like make it plain, make it clear. What is it that you've always desired and prayed about? Whether it's a list. Some people like the Sierra's prayer, but see, I couldn't pray Sierra's prayer because what Sierra needed for her life isn't necessarily what I needed for my life. So I love that Sierra had her prayer and she was making sure that Russell was aligned with what she wanted, but you have to pray that prayer for yourself. That's how you know, because the Lord will make it plain. So whatever it is that you're praying for and that you're asking for, that's how you know, like, okay, is this my husband? Is this my boyfriend? And is he husband material? Really comes down to, is he consistent? Is he, does he say, or does he do what he say he's going to do? So people can say anything. They can tell you anything you want to hear, but do those actions align with what he's saying? And for me, the consistency, it's the consistency for me. Okay. For me specifically, as an example, my husband, when we got together as a boyfriend and girlfriend, I was like, I'm good on it. But what I noticed is that he was like, I'm gonna come see you every month, because we were like long distance for like 9 months. So I'm gonna come see him. I'm like, yeah, okay. the lies. And then month 1 pulls up, month 2, month 3, and I'm sitting there like, well, hold on now, Lord. He said he was gonna come, and he did every single month, and that showed me, okay, he's a man of character and integrity, which means that he's going to do what he says he's going to do. Yeah. That's something that I had really never experienced before, prior to him. Right. And a man will tell you and he will show you what he wants. So if he wants to be with you, guess what? He will be with you. If his actions are saying something else, then he's basically telling you clear as day that he doesn't want to be with you. So that's how you can tell. You can tell by their actions. You could tell by their words and their integrity, their character, their morals and values. That's how you can tell if that's a boyfriend or husband. Boyfriends are fine, but going to that next level, it's like, is that what he's talking about? Are y'all having the conversations? Or is it just like stringing you along for as long as possible until he goes on to the next thing? So that's how I say,
That was a really good tip, sis, because I have not been in the dating pool in a very, very long time.
Me either.
But I have heard the horror stories about like these situationships. And I've sat, across from women and listened to them tell me things that to me sound a whole lot like red flags. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yes.
Like you said, he's saying one thing, but he's doing something different, like red flag. All the way a red flag. Or sometimes, it's men saying, I'm not ready for marriage, or I don't want to get married, or whatever the case may be, and you're hoping that you can change his mind.
I see that probably more than anything sometimes. That and just blatant lies. Like clearly they're lying, because there are a lot of men and some women. It's like they know what to say. The gaslighting is real. They know what to say to like keep you along. And there are so many wonderful, amazing women. And I think that sometimes they take advantage of that. They know that she's going to stick beside them. But then it's like the lies of like, or the deceit of thinking that you're going to get married and it's going to change. It's not. Marriage just intensifies everything. And so whatever was going on before, most likely people do evolve and change. That's not that, like, that's possible. But the core of who a person is, that's gonna be, unless they do some deep work through therapy or counseling something, but the core of who they are, you can't really change that. That's who they are.
Absolutely.
That's who they are.
Absolutely. You said something that really made me think about why I don't so much focus on relationships when it comes to how I empower women, because of this one thing. like you said, sometimes people take advantage of your vulnerability, right? And what we do see a lot of times is that women are so desperate for love. They're such hopeless romantics. They want it so bad that they ignore the red flags or they allow themselves to be mistreated.
Mhm.
So I really focus on empowering women within themselves,
Right.
like having that
Starts with
confidence that starts with you,
100%.
because who you are is going to reflect who you attract, right?
Mhm.
Like I just feel like, you know what I mean, like the way that I am, like the type of empowered woman I am, the kind of confidence that I carry, the type of things I know I'm absolutely not going to tolerate, it doesn't really make room for me to find myself in any type of relationship, honestly, where people are mistreating me. Because it's just not in my spirit. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't having it. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to talk to me with respect. You're going to treat me well. Like, I love myself. So if you don't love me, then leave me alone.
I love that.
And so that's how I really want all of us women to be, because again, like when you have that aura about yourself, when you carry yourself that way, you'll run away to people who about the nonsense. They not even gonna play with you.
So will. Yeah, that is so funny you say that, because that's what happened when I met my husband. Because before I was, it's not so much that I was desperate, but I yearned for that so much.
Mm-hmm.
I yearned for that love, and I just wanted like a stable relationship. And then I became like a relationship chameleon. So it was like, oh, whatever it is you like. Like if they were into something, oh, that's what I'm reading too. Oh, that's what they watch. Oh, that's what I'm watching too. It's like, girl, but who are you?
Right.
Like, so when I met my husband, I was just like, I ain't got time for the games. Like,
I know this.
and I showed up differently, which made him step up as well. Because he's like, oh shoot, I can't go. He probably could, if I had allowed it to, he probably could have played some games with me or whatever, and like he would have been in the book as a different character, you know. But because I showed up, like you said, and demanded that respect and said, oh no, this is not what we're doing over here. Like I actually love myself, and I expect X, Y, and Z. And then he's like, oh, okay, let me set my game up. Yeah, because don't come over here with that foolishness.
Yes,
those days are gone. So, but I had to like get myself together first to make sure that, you know, I didn't accept anything less than I deserved.
Yes. Oh my goodness, sis, that you gave me chills for two reasons. One, I feel like we definitely have a commonality in how our marriages began, because I remember that summer before me and my husband met. I was on this. I'm good on dudes. Like
me too.
I'm gonna focus on myself. That is exactly what I said before he showed up.
Yes.
So I mean, I do think that sometimes, and I think oftentimes rather, women will tell you like that your Prince Charming or whatever. Like he'll show up when you least looking for him. That's when he's gonna show up. Right. And then the other thing is that just the testament of how the power that women have to bring out the best in our men, right? Like, because like you said, some people will do stuff just because you allow them to. But sometimes when you apply a certain kind of pressure and you have a certain standard requirement for yourself, you make people ride to that standard or leave you alone.
Right.
And the good ones, because it's already in them, right? They just looking for that person who's gonna pull it out of them, like, and they really want it, truthfully. Right. Because my husband would tell me quickly, like, I love a woman that I had to chase, right? And I love the fact that I have a woman that pushes me, like, to be better. You might resist it at first, but really secretly, he want that. He want it. He want it. So sometimes again, women be getting relationships, like you said, becoming that committed, like whatever you want, but really the power is in you to lift that man up to become like his best self.
You preaching, sis. You preaching.
Come on. All right. So we're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna come back and keep this good discussion going. You are listening to She Wins Radio on 101 TKO Radio. Hey sis, hey sis, hey. You are tuned into 101 TKO Radio, and this is the She Wins Show with your favorite coach, Andromeda. We are back from the break, and Shonda Brown White is in the building with us.
Hey everyone.
Having a conversation about how to get and stay married. This has been such a good conversation. I want to say again, if you have a question for us about this topic, or if you have something you want to contribute to the conversation based on your own experiences, we would love to hear from you. You can call in at 678-439-7419. Or if you are watching live on YouTube or Facebook, you can actually comment right there on the live and it'll show up on the screen and we can engage with you that way. Okay. So, Shonda, next question I want to ask you. I mean, feel like you kind of already gave us some things to look forward to when it comes to relationships, like things to look for in a man, rather, to let you know he might be husband material. But I want to ask you, because we do know that, like we talked about previously, people get into relationships and sometimes they're very quick to leave them, right? Like, oh gosh, he keeps leaving the toilet seat up. I'm done. You know what I mean? Like, so I want to ask you, what are some characteristics of a man that make him worth holding on to despite his imperfections?
Oh, that's a great question. Loyalty is definitely probably top of the list. It's funny because it's like when you think about the toilet or, not putting the toilet seat down, or maybe he doesn't load the dishwasher the way you like it, or maybe he leaves his drawers on the floor, and it's just like a trail, when he comes up. But then you also think like, but is my man coming home every night? Like, do I know where my man is? Because there are probably some women, some relationships where they don't know where their man is. Or he's out still trying to live his early 20s or whatever. And he's grown and leaving the kids at home. He's out at the club every weekend, all night, every day. So loyalty and like the consistency, like is he home with me? Like, is he loyal to me? I don't have to worry about somebody calling my phone or, it's going down in the DMs, whatever the craziness, the toxic type of stuff. Like, you can take some of that stuff. It's like we all need grace. Like, I'm sure my husband hates when my makeup is on the counter, or he calls them my little what's the hair stuff. When he sees my hair on the floor, tumbleweed. Tumbleweed.
Hilarious.
And they just be rolling. We all have those things, but at the end of the day, it's not worth risking somebody or risking a relationship because y'all have different cleaning measures or habits. But loyalty, trust, intimacy, like, does he allow you that safe space to be vulnerable and to be authentically you? When I go home, when it's just me and Eric, those are like some of the best moments because I'm like, we kick in about something or we're laughing, that's stuff that nobody else would understand, nobody else would get. But also, if I'm having a meltdown or a nervous breakdown in the middle of the night and crying my eyes out because I'm grieving or I'm hurt, he's there to hold me and he's there to like shield me and protect me. Those type of protectors, somebody who protects you physically, but also protects your heart. Like, if you protect your heart, that's priceless. Like someone who you don't have to worry about embarrassing you or putting you out on Front Street or airing your grievances or even making you feel bad about your vulnerabilities. You know how you're vulnerable with someone and then they'll throw it back up in your face? That's not protecting your heart. But if you have someone who does that, and a man who really can like show up for you in that way as a protector and as a supporter, those are things that are invaluable. It's like, that's what you got to, I know there's a lot of conversations out around like, buying this and buying that, the material stuff. That's good and all, but at the core of like who that man is, if he's loyal, if he's honest, if he's trustworthy, if he is a protector, those are the things that like make you want to say, you know what? He's a good man, Savannah.
Yes. Yes.
From what it takes.
That's so beautiful, sis. And I honestly can relate to all of those things. Like, no person, I can't even say no man, no person walking this earth is perfect.
Nobody.
Right? no one ever finds, that perfect person. No matter if you feel like that's your soulmate or not, like everybody has imperfections. Everybody is going to do certain things that you may not like or agree with. Like everybody. And I just I'm glad that you said all of that, especially about the whole thing about materialistic things, because I just feel like there is this weird narrative that's going around, especially in these social media streets, where again you got women turning down a man, like shoving him away because he took you to the Cheesecake Factory. Sis,
yeah, I can't relate to that.
I cannot.
I like Cheesecake Factory.
Me too. I was trying to figure out, when did the Cheesecake Factory become like some low level establishment?
When did everybody become so bougie? I don't understand. My husband asked me to be his girlfriend at Cheesecake Factory.
I got asked to be the girlfriend in the truck, in his daddy's truck. In my front yard. Okay, like
yes,
it's
I don't know where that came from. I don't understand it, but I'm like, Cheesecake Factory is delicious to me, and there's so many options.
I mean, to me, from the outside looking in, I could see like some clear things that are issue when it comes to women and men in relationships in this day and age. Like, there are some mindset shifts that absolutely need to occur because, again, okay, so yeah, you could get the guy that's going to take you to, I don't know, the 5-star restaurant or whatever. But like you said, okay, and then what? Is he just trying to get something behind? Is he going to have all those different qualities that you mentioned? Like, what good is having a nice dinner, but that person doesn't respect you and value you?
100%. And I feel like it's work that needs to be done on both sides. Of course, I'm always gonna root for my girls because I know so many incredible, phenomenal women, and I'm like, sis is like she's the package.
Yeah, I agree.
And then it's some knuckleheads, but I don't like when we play the blame game. I'm like, but if we all could just do the work and put in the work, because that's what it takes. Like when we talk about marriage, it's hard. It takes work, and so those little petty things. Listen, sis, he's going to get on your nerves. Guess what? You're going to get on his nerves. Like, it is what it is.
Absolutely.
But the love and the work has to be there. And when both people are willing to put in the work, then that's when it'll work. Because I've seen relationships and I've told different people, I'm like, I know you're going to put in the work, but if he puts in the work or if they put in the work, then you can make it work.
Exactly.
But it has to be both people. It can't just be one person, because then that person's going to feel resentment or they're going to feel overwhelmed. But both people have to work on the relationship. Point blank period.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. Like, you got to be in the ring together. One person steps out, it's pretty much over.
Exactly. It's me and Eric against the world.
Yes.
Like, so it's going to be really hard for somebody to try to like come in and like fight. We're not fighting each other. We are fighting together against everything else. And that's what makes it work. So whether it's counseling, therapy, having difficult conversations, like that's what keeps it going, because we're willing to put in the work. And that's something I can definitely say about my husband, because I know not everybody's always open to that. With men, they're just different. They're not always as expressive. But Eric has been open to like, you know what, let's try this or let's try that. Or just even being aware. Sometimes as women, we have to ask our husbands a little bit more questions, because they could seem like they're okay because they're gonna, they're gonna stay strong for us, but getting like deeper and to be like, hey babe, like let's really talk. Like, I know you said you're angry, but you think maybe you're feeling this, and like drilling a little deeper to figure out like what's really going on, so that he too can have a safe space to be vulnerable. Because it's not every day that they have a place where they can go to and talk to each other. So like we have to make sure we create that space and that the home is peaceful. And you get that peace through God and making sure that like, listen, we don't allow no foolishness up in our house, basically.
That makes me think about when we hear people say like, be his peace. I do think it is so important for a man to have that space for him to be vulnerable, right? Like, there's an expectation that we might be more fragile and that we might cry and that we might, be hormonal and all those different things. But there's often an expectation for men to always be one way. Like,
exactly.
You get up, you be the man, you be strong, you go to work, you provide for your family. You know what I mean? Like, but it's like men are human beings too. Literally, we're made from the same, made from the same material, right? Like, God gave men ability to cry too. That's the reason why he did that, right? You know what I mean? Because they weren't meant to. I don't think they would have two guts. Okay, so exactly. It's we're all human, but I do
Mhm.
think that, of course, I mean, we're all built. I think when I think about men and women, even just the way men are built, though, like I do think that there's a position that men play and a position that women play in the world and in relationships, right? Like I tell my husband all the time, like the way he get up and go to work and like. Child, the way he be working, I'd be like, no way, I need to go lay down and take a nap. Like, I don't know how your body does this thing, right? But that's how God created you because He is a provider, right? Like, but in the other areas where we are common, like I said, being able to understand that we both have feelings, we both have emotions, we both can cry, we both can be sad. Like, we have to create room for that in our relationships. This was not a question I had on my list, but I want to bring it up because I think that I want to hear your perspective on it. One thing came to my mind the other day. I was thinking about how, we met our husbands when we were younger, right? So there was more room, in a sense, for them to grow, right? We saw their potential, right? There was more grace for them to make certain mistakes or not have certain things together, right? Because you're younger, so you're looking for him to grow into this person, right? But a lot of women, especially if we're talking about women who are maybe in their late 30s, over 40, have not met that one yet. Do you think that there is more pressure that they're putting on the men that they meet to have more of their lives together?
I think, not to ask a question, it kind of comes down to what does have your life together look like?
Okay.
Because I think different people have a different understanding and different expectations, to be honest. Because on one end, having your life together, for some people, they might be like, well, he lives at home with his mama and he ain't working, so he ain't got his life together. On another end, it could be that he's living at home with his mother, saving up to buy a house, finishing up school, and he's planning to move out. Like, for some people, that's two different types of expectations of having your life together. So it really just depends on the person's preference and their expectations for what they see. But I also think that time has a lot to do with it. So it's like, well, how long are you going to be in your life together?
Right.
Like, and how long am I going to like wait? And because nobody ever figures it all together. You never have it all together at once. But I think there is something, it probably is a little harder. I don't know if people are putting as much pressure on it. I think sometimes it's just hard to find like maybe somebody who hasn't got together, because if you in your 30s and your 40s, but you still out here in these streets like in your 20s, like for me personally, I'm gonna have a problem with that. I'm gonna be like, now what we doing? Like, we good and grown. I'm trying to like, especially like if you're trying to have kids and settle down, are you trying to live in the city, trying to live in the suburbs? Like, what are you doing? Like, finding that alignment, I think that probably gets a little more difficult as you get older. And I don't know the answers. I don't know why. I don't know, if people are just trying to like stay in a certain decade versus growing and evolving. Right. You know what I mean? So I think it just really thinks on what your expectations are and what you're willing to put up with, to be honest. I know a lot of times I try to tell people about like partnership, because a lot of people, there's all these discussions about like who makes more money and the man should be doing this. Guess what, guys? Sometimes you get married and somebody's going to get laid off. So that means things are going to change drastically. So that means he might be bringing home the bread. It might switch and then he gets laid off, and then like life happens, and so it might not always be the same. Life happens in seasons, and so understanding that too is like really important, I think, because you have to understand it's a partnership. Yeah. And so if people feel like, okay, I can partner well with this person based on where he is in his life, then go for it. But I think that looks different depending on who it is. Yeah. Now listen, like I said, as for me, listen, there's some things where I'm like, sorry, I need you to like pull it together. Like, we're trying to go here and you going over here. Like, are we reading the same book or are we reading two different books? But again, it just depends. But women be knowing. Yeah, we know. I agree. And I love that you said it got to be a partnership. Because 100%. We do hear, like me and my husband, we have our little sidebar conversation when we're riding down the street.
he says that, there are, from his perspective, male perspective, there are a lot of women who are saying they want certain things in a relationship like that. I do think that checklist changes as you get older, right? Because it's just like, okay, I need you to have a house, or I need you to have a car, or I need you to whatever, because I need you
I need you to help me with these kids.
You know what I mean? But he's saying that some women, he feels like some women, and it's a lot of the people, the stuff we be seeing on social media, who have this expectation, like you're trying to get married, not necessarily for a partnership. You're just trying to get married so that you can now enjoy his house and enjoy his car and enjoy his money and enjoy the experiences that he's built for himself. And you're not bringing equal to the table or even close to that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the question then begins, like, how are you having these high expectations of the person you want to be with, and you're not matching that energy even a little bit?
And it also, it depends on what that couple wants. Like, for some men, they're like, hey, I'm fine if I'm handling everything and you what do they call it? A trophy wife, they used to call it back in the day. Some people are fine with that. Some people are like, hey, I want to partner together. And I feel like it's a partnership, and partnership can mean different things to different people. But when I say partnership, I mean like, hey, we're building together, we're growing together, we're evolving together. Versus, we've seen it so many times with a lot of housewives. Unfortunately, they get married and then everything is gone because like he pretty much ruled and controlled everything. And it's like, if that's what you choose to do you, boo? But understand that comes with a cost. Versus like, hey, we in this together. Whoever got it, however you got it, whoever got it first or whatever. But like, understand that now it's ours and we're together, and like, let's work on this together. So that means you don't make a grave decision or a huge decision without consulting with me, and the vice versa. Like, I don't care whose money it is, but like when we're together, it's us, it's ours, we're building together. But that part of it, I think a lot of people are missing.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it does even make you think twice when it does come time to ending that relationship, right? When you have so many things intertwined between each other, like you got to really think about the thing. Like they used to say, cheaper to keep her. I'm not trying to split my house down the middle, right? I'm not trying to do that. Yeah, I would rather try to figure out how to work on my marriage and make this work so that we can continue to grow together and keep this lifestyle that we built together.
Exactly. Right? And men have to be okay. Even if a woman is making more, men have to make sure they got to check their insecurities at the door and their ego, because a lot of times they're like, women want to be independent. No, we don't. We tired. Okay, we are tired. But men also have to make sure that they're okay. So if your woman is making more money than you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to project your insecurities onto her, because especially if she really is trying to work on it together, like you can't project your insecurities onto her and make her feel some type of way because you feel insecure that your woman is making less than you.
Right. Oh, I could agree so much. I always say in my marriage that we are a team. Period. We're a team. So, like, yeah, we have specific things that we have assigned to each other. Like, for the most part, like, I am going to be doing the laundry and washing the clothes and certain things like that, mainly because I work from home, right? And he's gone most of the day. So it just makes sense for me to do that.
It makes sense. The way y'all's life is set up, that's what makes sense for y'all.
What makes sense for us, right? But other certain things, like, when I pull up in the driveway with water in the car, it's gonna sit there till you get home and get it out. You know what I mean? I love being in my feminine energy.
Me too. I thoroughly enjoy it. Okay. I'm like, I'm short. Can you get that water on top of the fridge? Thank you.
But part of being a team is also understanding that if I had a very stressful day as an entrepreneur, or I'm traveling or whatever, like, boy, now do not sit there and let the laundry pile up or the dishes pile up because I'm not here. Like, we're a team. Yeah. Okay?
Right.
If something needs to get done that I can't get done,
exactly,
then you do it, because we're working together to keep our household running, right? And I think that is how people have to definitely go into relationships, because that point that you made, the things change. Like you said, people go into relationships and marriages thinking, okay, my husband gonna pay the bills and he gonna be in charge to control all of this and do all of this or whatever, and I'm just going to be comfortable over here. But if your husband loses his job, are you done with him now?
Yep.
It's
exactly.
What you have nothing to offer you no more, huh?
Right. What you gonna do?
So it's definitely important for us to keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all, we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna come back and keep this conversation going. I have some really good questions rather to ask Shonda about the realities of long-term marriage, tips for keeping a marriage alive, and how to be a happy wife, y'all. All right, so stay locked in. This is the She Wins Radio Show on 101 TKO Radio. Hey sis, hey sis, hey. You are tuned into 101 TKO Radio, and this is the She Wins Radio Show with your favorite coach Andromeda and my special guest host Shonda Brown White.
Hello, everyone.
Y'all, this conversation has been so good about relationships. We know that this is one of the hottest topics out there, right? Everybody wants to get a piece of relationships. They want to share their thoughts, opinions. Oh, we on break. We was talking about some crazy stuff. I don't even know if I really want to get into it, y'all. But listen, this is what I do want to tell you. When it comes to relationship conversations, everybody who have a mic is not somebody you should listen to. Just because they have a mic, don't mean you should listen, sis. That's all I gotta say. Male or female, because a lot of people out here are giving very, very bad advice when it comes to relationships. And I would just say, check their receipts before you start taking their advice. Okay. So let's keep this conversation going, Shonda. I want to ask you, what are some tips for those who are listening who are currently still married and they might have been married for a little while or maybe just got married? What are some tips for keeping your marriage alive?
Well, everyone knows we love a good date night. And I don't get caught up in the how often it's. Listen, as long as you're carving out time for you and your spouse, your significant other, to have fun, do stuff, try new things. And ladies, sometimes even if your man is like, I don't feel like doing that, guess what? Sometimes just make him do it, because you know what's going to end up happening? He's gonna have the time of his life.
Yes.
I can't tell you how many times Eric's been like, I don't know if I want to do all that. And then we do it. He's like, I had a really nice time. And I'm just sitting there like, right, I knew you would. Especially if you have different personalities. Eric's more introverted. I'm more extroverted. He's more of a homebody. I'm trying to go to the introverted side, but people won't let me. But yeah, just carving out date night. It could be date day, especially because I know people have children. It's hard. But figure out how to have a date night at home, or just do something different. If you can't travel and go somewhere, go on a staycation. But if you can book the trip, get a babysitter. Some kids will be fine, and book you a trip. Go somewhere, do something nice, do something different. Like, I love when we can do things together that we both have never done. One of the things that we started to do also to keep things going. We do couples massages every month now.
Nice.
And so once a month, and he loves a sports massage. I do a hot stone. So we're not even in the same room. We're like, okay, you go do you, and then we'll come back together. But going to get massages, because we all need to relax. We all need to release. And so that's something that we've started doing. But that's definitely one thing that I think to keep the marriage alive. And I also say that keeping God in your marriage is really important. And I'm not just talking about going to church. I'm talking about praying together, studying together, talking together, talking to God about each other, and then going to God for each other. That is really important. I know that we wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for that solid foundation, and being in sync. But that's definitely another thing I would definitely say. That's probably the most important. But yeah, all those things, whether it's couples massages, date day, trying new experiences, trying new restaurants. Eric and I were we always go to the same restaurant. So we started a running list in our phones. Okay, next time we go to dinner, we're going to try this place or try that place. And just trying new things, because that's fun. And it keeps things exciting.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. That makes me think about actually just this past Sunday. So my husband needed to run some errands. And I was like, usually on a Sunday, I am not going anywhere doing anything. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to roll with you to run these errands or whatever. And I was like, go ahead. Just change your clothes. Put on something. You got to get dressed up. But just put on something just in case we decide to pop in somewhere and have a drink or something like that. And initially, he was very resistant because he this man got it in his mind. He about to go do this, this, get back home, play his game, whatever he want to do. And so now I'm messing up his flow. I'm getting in the way, right? And I'm just like, babe, just do it. You know what I mean? We had not had a date night or anything that week. I'm we just hang out with each other, whatever. So he was resisting at first, but he went ahead and changed his clothes or whatever. We got out the door and we went to go like vacuum my car. I'm like, see, now you teamwork makes the dream work. You'd have been still vacuuming this car if I wasn't here doing the other side for you, okay? I'm like, we went to just run like a few errands, and then he got hungry and we stopped at this pizzeria. We had never been because we moved to Atlanta. We stopped at this pizzeria and it was really, really good. Had some drinks. By the time it was over, he was like, yeah, I had a really good time with you today. And I'm like, see, sometimes it can be that simple as just going to go watch and vacuum the car together.
A little Target run, you know.
That's it. We went to Walmart, had to pick up a couple things, and went in the Christmas section and ended up getting one of those, y'all know the Christmas cans with the 3 different popcorn.
Yes.
And then that's how we spend the evening, eating popcorn, watching movies. I'm like, see, all of this would not have happened if you was totally against it. Like, he was irritated with me. Like, man, I'm just trying to go and get back.
Yeah. You gotta like to spend time with your spouse.
Yeah.
I think that's why some people struggled during the pandemic. I don't think they were used to spending. Me and Eric, we loved it. We was like, can we go back on lockdown? Like, but you gotta like your spouse. Now there will be days when you get on each other's nerves, like, ooh, you on my last nerve. But like, you have to want to spend or want to like to spend time with them. Like, if you don't, it's a red flag. But you know, when you go out with your girls, you're like, oh, I can't. You love being with your girls. You're like, I can't wait to get home. Like, my man. So you have to like to be around each other.
Yeah. And I think that there are seasons, I know from my perspective, there are definitely seasons of life where you want to be around them more, right? Like, because I remember telling somebody, like, you know, it's just one of them seasons where it's like, I just want to be with him. I just want to be with him all the time, you know what I mean?
All the time.
But like last season, I was like, okay, like you can go to work now. Like, I'm okay with being by myself. Bye. Right? But that is the reality of long-term marriage. So it's understanding that there are seasons, there's ebbs and flows, there's moments where you want to be with your spouse, and moments where you're like, okay, you go in the other room, go play your video game for 3 hours.
Exactly.
Please.
It's totally fine. Yep.
And then there are moments where you're like, can you get off that game? You come love me.
Exactly.
Come cut it with
Eric's
me.
like, I'm gonna go watch a game, and then he comes upstairs. I'm like, I thought you was watching the game. Well, you know, maybe we could watch together. I'm like, oh. And then I just start watching my show.
Exactly. But then you have to choose to compromise. You know, one thing I've realized about myself this year, Shonda, celebrating my 10 years of being married, I've realized that I have improved so much in taming my tongue.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Like, I've been so proud of myself because there'll be moments when I want to say something. And I'm like, nah, just don't. Like, it's not even worth it. Like,
choosing their battles.
Or choosing when to say it. Like, he's getting ready to go to work. Like,
exactly.
Let's just put a pin in this stuff right there. Like, let me not get his day started all.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Eric knows we had conversations about this stuff. The way you start your day is very important.
Like, he's not.
That's all I say about that.
Yes. So it's just like, if I know if I'm gonna say this and it might start an argument or a disagreement, I'm not even gonna say it right now. Like, it's just not time for that right now. I'd rather you just go on and go. We can wait. It's not
exactly.
You know what I mean? Or times when he does do things that annoy me, I'll just be like, I'm not. It's okay.
Yep.
It's fine.
Try to think about all the good.
Right. It's fine. I don't even need to address it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, because the good's gonna outweigh the bad anyway. And not even bad. It's just annoying things. Really.
So what are some other truths about long-term marriage? Some other realities?
You have to do what works for you. Like, I love when you were talking about earlier how, you know, because of the way y'all's marriage is set up and the way he works and all that stuff, because, you know, a lot of times we have traditional gender roles. And I'm going to be honest, that sometimes that stuff just does not work. This is a new era, a new century, and both spouses are working their butts off. Some are going, you know, there's some that's working from home, some that's going into the office a lot more. And so what might have worked for Granny and them, it just might not work for your marriage. Some people don't like to cook, or some people can't cook. So that means I have friends who have been married longer than I have, and they don't cook, and they are totally fine with that. They find other ways around it. Either their husband cooks or they go out to eat. So it's like, you have to do what works for you. One of the quotes I love about marriage that always rings true, it said, some pastor said it, And it was like, marriage is the collision of two histories, but you have to create your own.
That's
And
good.
it's absolutely true. It's like he comes from his background, I come from mine. And then we have to figure out, okay, what do we want our legacy and our history to look like? And that may not look like Mama Nim or Granny Nim or Uncle Nim. So you have to do what works for you. I think that is so key and what's really worked for me and Eric. It's like, even in the beginning, I think we probably thought it was going to go a certain way. It was like, okay, that's not going to work for us. Like, we're going to have to figure out how we can partner well together and make it work for us. That's definitely that.
That's that word partner again for me.
Yeah.
Like it's so powerful when you think about that in marriage. And I love how you said that it's not always the same, based off of how like our grannies and our moms and stuff grew up, because I grew up watching my mother be a housewife. Like my dad was a computer programmer. He made very good money. So she was able to comfortably live her life and take care of her kids and be at home, right? We always had a nice place to live and things like that. But when we think about this day and age and the cost of things, like sometimes you really also got to get real with yourself about that, because I told myself, like, that's the kind of marriage I wanted. Like, I want to be able to be a stay-at-home mom and take care of the house and do things the way I saw my mother do them, right?
Exactly.
And there was a period of time where our household was completely and totally reliant upon my husband's income because I had quit my job to start pursuing my purpose. But with that decision came a lot of sacrifices. So I went from being able to go and get my $400 weaves, every couple of months, to being able to say, like, oh no, I got to scale back because his income can't cover all of those things. And so again, that word partnership is thinking, what kind of life are you trying to build, right? Because you can't say, okay, I'll let my partner be the only one who's bringing in sole income, but you also got to be realistic about what his income can cover, right? So that might mean that, okay, y'all gonna be living in an apartment or a smaller home. If you have a vision to have a larger home, a 5-bedroom house with a pool in the backyard and all that stuff, sis, you might have to contribute, because I mean, everybody, when we think about jobs in general, right? Like, everybody, we need all the different jobs, from janitors to,
we need everything.
You know what I mean? To NFL coaches, like we need all of them.
Everybody can be an entrepreneur.
Everybody, exactly. And so does that mean that the janitor doesn't deserve to have a wife because he's a janitor? Right? Like, does that mean he doesn't deserve to live well because he's a janitor? Because I think that, again, like that idea of partnership, of understanding what is the life that you want to live. And if you're saying you want your life to be more expanded, you want to have more experiences, you want to be able to travel, in this day and age, that might look like you have to have a job, sis, so that you and your husband can come together and put your incomes together to create this life together. Because separate from each other, y'all won't even be able to have it. Like, a lot of, I see marriages where my friends, like I have a good friend who, she's a nurse practitioner, and her husband is an engineer. And they live a very nice life. You know what I'm saying? They have nice cars, they live in a beautiful house, they're able to travel all the time. But separate from each other, they wouldn't be able, their life wouldn't be able to be as large. You know what I mean? So again, thinking about this word partnership, together you can build a beautiful life when both are contributing in some way to that.
You can. And I think, like we were talking about earlier, when you talk about a lasting, sustaining marriage, you just have to put in the work. And sometimes that work is separate. It's like, I need to work on whatever I need to work on. I need to go to therapy to deal with childhood trauma. And then sometimes it's you all working together, but like whatever that work is, because like you said earlier, nobody's perfect. And so we both bring a lot of history, a lot of experience. Some of us bring trauma that is projected in other ways that we don't even realize, or insecurities that come out. And it's like, but you're feeling insecure because this happened to you when you were a little girl. And so making sure that you're doing the work on yourself as well as together. I know for a fact, like that's what has helped sustain me and Eric, because we're not afraid of it. It doesn't mean that everybody has to know what that work is, what it looks like, but like we're not afraid or ashamed to say like, hey, I'm getting help with this, or I'm talking to somebody just to have another listening ear, or just to process what's happening when we talk about grief, or you talk about childhood trauma, whatever it is, like you have to do that work. And like you said, seasons, like when I think about last year and all that we went through with my mom and being in the hospital, we were in a whole other state for 5 months, caring for my mother as before she passed. Like my husband was there every step of the way. He couldn't come to me, but girl, what's for dinner? what you cooking? Like,
right.
that would be so insensitive.
Right.
But instead, he stepped up to the plate and did things that, some would say he didn't have to do that. But for him, he's like, I'm your husband. That's what I'm supposed to do. And so the way that he stepped up and has stepped up for me and has like been there for me, people, they don't even have a clue, especially behind closed doors. It's like you show up a certain way for other people, but like behind closed doors, like that's my rock. Like that's who has been there in those seasons and going through that. That's what's important about making sure that you have somebody who's going to be with you, not just when it's all great and gravy and everything's good, but like in the trenches when life is lifing and it's hard and you don't know if you're going to make it to the next day. That's when it's really important. That's when marriage really, like, your spouse shows up for you. That's when you talk about earlier how you know you're supposed to stick and stay, or when it's a good that when that happens. If that man can stick beside you during your darkest days, if you didn't know before, you know then.
And if you could stick beside him in his darkest days,
same.
Same. I mean, I think over the course of our relationship, we have definitely. I mean, we've been together for 20 years, since we were 17 and 18, and so we definitely have experienced moments where, like I shared, there was a time when he did get laid off from his job. Like I quit my job to pursue my entrepreneurship journey, and I'm really barely making any money. And then he gets laid off, and it's like, whoa, buddy. And we went from living in our beautiful luxury apartment to moving in with a family member. And a lot of people would have ended their marriage right then and there. Like, I can't do this. You know what I mean? Like we fought through all these different moments in life. He's seen me at my worst from having surgery or
100%.
Girl, I had a whole probably month where I didn't know what I want to do with my hair, so I was walking around the house with crazy. And he didn't say nothing for a while until he was just like, "So what you doing?
What you doing?" He was like, "I'm gonna just let her have a moment, but one of these days I'm gonna have to say something."
Right, but he's seen me through the good, bad, ugly, and that's how I know that is. Like you said, my man.
Yes. And we are proud of it.
Yes. And we have very honest conversations. I love that you said that y'all don't run from that, because we have very honest conversations about just, again, love, relationships, and marriage as well. Like, we are human beings. And so, yes, I give you grace to have your imperfections, but, like, you got to be real about the desires of your partner. You know what I mean? Like, 100%. We all have eyes to see. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm not attracted to those ways, and I didn't marry you with those ways, then you don't get to just up and change on me and think I gotta accept that.
Exactly.
Like that's being real. And then I always tell him all the time too is that either we're growing together or we're growing apart, and that's just a very real thing. Like you don't want to be unequally yoked in that way, right? Where I'm working on myself, I'm improving myself, I'm going to therapy, I'm being accountable for my actions and self-aware, and you just over here like,
right, exactly. This is who I am. Not gonna cut it. We all have to evolve.
Yes. Y'all, we're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna come back and finish out the show. I have just two more questions to ask Shonda. You are tuned into She Wins Radio Show on 101 TKO Radio. Hey, sis, hey, you are tuned into 101 TKO Radio, and this is the She Wins Radio Show with your favorite coach, Andromeda, and special guest, Shonda Brown White.
Hello, everyone.
If you are just tuning in or you have been tuning in, y'all have heard Shonda drop gym after gym after gym after gym after gym about relationships and marriage. She has so much wisdom in this area, and I definitely think that she has a voice that we need to be turning up louder or amplifying when it comes to this because as I shared earlier, it's a lot of nonsense out there. There's a lot of unqualified voices speaking on this subject. And as young women and men are growing and preparing themselves for relationships and marriage, or women are trying to still just figure out what it is that they need to do to be a good wife or to attract a good husband, we definitely need people with sound minds that can provide good counsel on this subject. So we appreciate Shonda taking her time out to share with us today.
No, thank you for having me.
Yes. All right. So Shonda, the last question I have for you is how are you a happy wife? How do you be a happy wife?
I love that question, Andromeda.
Okay.
I know, I'm just kidding. I remember I went to see the forever First Lady, Michelle Obama, when she came to Atlanta. I love that day. My mom got to go with me. It was just a wonderful weekend. And I remember Michelle was talking about Barack. And she's like, Barack he goes and plays basketball when he wants to, and he does whatever he wants. She's like, and I was kind of feeling some type of way, like a little resentment, like kind of jealous to like, well, here I am at home with the kids and stuff. She said, but I told myself, Barack gonna do what Barack gonna do. She's like, so Michelle, you need to do what you want to do. I was like, I think a lot of times we do that. It's like, well, he's gone with his friends or he's, playing basketball or whatever. And for Michelle and for a lot of us, she just had a realization that like, hey, if there's something you want to do, go do it. Yeah. Like, so I think that's how you stay happy as a wife is like making sure you don't forget about yourself. We are women first and foremost, before we're wives, before we're mothers, before we're, we are wives, we are women first. So it's like, what is that thing that you enjoy? What brings you happiness? Because that's another thing. Even my father-in-law tells me, he's told me before, like, you can't expect your spouse to make you happy all the time. You are responsible for your own happiness. Yes, you are. So what is it that brings you joy? What is it that makes you happy? What is it that you love? I'm a creative. So it's nothing for me to go to a candle making class or fragrance making class or whatever. And Eric's like, hey, go do what you do. He's going to be home with his sports, doing what he loves, watching his sports. And I'm going to go and create something. Like, he knows that about me. I know that about him. And we allow each other that space to be free and to be happy and to do things that bring you happiness. I remember when I first started therapy a long time ago, that was one of the questions that she asked. She's like, what do you like to do? And I had got so lost in the sauce of like career and the grind and the hustle that I forgot, like, what do you enjoy doing that, like, nobody has to pay you to do it. You just love doing it. It's like a hobby per se. It's like we've kind of gotten away from that. Self-care, that's another huge thing. Like self-care, going to get my hair done. My appointments are already in the books for 2024, okay? So if I don't know anything, I know when my hair appointments are scheduled for 2024. But self-care, getting my nails, I love getting my nails done. It's just always been me. My mom was the same way. So I'm going every 2 or 3 weeks, like, because that's something that I enjoy doing. Whatever that looks like for you or for any wife or girlfriend out there, like, just don't forget about yourself. Don't lose your voice. Like, find those things that really make you happy and just do those things. Carve out the time. Find a babysitter. Leave those kids at home with him. The kids won't die. So what? He might not feed them what you want. Girl, the kids will be fine. As long as they're still alive when you get back home, right? That's okay. Like, it's okay to prioritize yourself.
Yeah. So good, sis. I just think that, like earlier, you told us the importance of carving out time for date night and, having those intimate moments together. But it is equally as important to have those moments for yourself, because I feel like a long-lasting marriage is, dependent upon both people knowing, like you said, what makes them happy 100%. And not relying upon the person in your relationship to make you happy. Like, it kind of just takes the pressure off, because I can just try to imagine right now, like, I've been working, as an entrepreneur all day. I'm working from home. My husband, he's out in the streets. He's doing his thing. He's coming home late. He's tired. And here I am being needy and needing him to make me happy. Like, that's a lot of pressure to put on a person. You know what I mean? Like, I think that it is very empowering to be able to say that I can bring myself joy. And I think that applies to all areas of our lives, from when we go into our workplace, when we are spending time with our friends and family, like knowing that you can make your own happiness regardless of what other people are doing, it just changes the game.
It does. And, when it comes to romance, I think sometimes we get caught up in that too. But sometimes you have to create your own romance.
Yeah.
Like, if you know that's not your husband's strong suit, guess what, girl? You create it. You hire somebody, a party planner, to make it all pretty or whatever. And guess what? You still gonna have the same time, same great time, same loving experience. Guess what? You just might have to create that yourself. Sometimes your husband will do it, and because sometimes we get caught up in the mind games, and well, he should know that. Well, that might not be his love language.
Right.
It might be yours, and so maybe you have to create the ambiance. But guess what? You both can still enjoy it. Maybe he can provide the funds for the planner, and then you plan it, and then voila, there's your romance right there.
Oh my goodness!
So nobody has to work really. You might have to call, make a few phone calls, emails. But guess what? If that's what you want. You want to see roses everywhere or a little pretty picnic. Guess what? Maybe you have to create that. Just say, hey, babe, can you send me the money for such and such? Because maybe that's his ministry.
Yes.
To contribute to the funds. And then you bring the magic. And then guess what? You both enjoy this wonderful romantic dinner versus just feeling like, well, I wanted him to. And then I do believe that, when it comes to birthdays and anniversaries, listen, man, y'all got to bring it. Can't be forgetting. That's just my personal preference. Going on trips, we do a big deal about our anniversary because it's so important. But when it comes to those types of things, if he's not really as romantic, guess what? That's not really necessarily something that you just want to be like, well, I'm done with him. Because at the end of the day, there's so many 10 other great things that he does really, really well. So maybe romance isn't his strongest suit, but you can create romance any kind of way.
And I'm all about playing your strengths. If I can be honest about a couple of things that we struggle with in our marriage were, one, my husband grew up with this idea, came from his dad, but his dad said to him, don't ever let a woman know how much money you make, right? And so in our marriage, we struggled. Now, mind you, I have my bachelor's degree in accounting. Okay. So we struggled because he was not good at managing money. But if you just let me do it, then we'd be in a better situation. Meanwhile, you got to come and tell me, oh, I don't have enough of this, or I don't have enough of that, because you didn't manage your money well.
You're like, where did the money go?
You know what I mean? And if I had just had more insight, then we could be in a better position right now. So he had to grow beyond that and realize, okay, that is her strong suit. Actually, I don't like to pay bills. I'd rather just make the money. And then I know that she's going to make sure everything is paid on time. We're going to have money in our savings. We're going to be able to do what we need to do.
And thank you, Dad, for that advice. But that don't apply to our relationship.
That don't apply to us. It doesn't work. The second thing was that when we first got together, he definitely, I won't say first got together. I mean, probably the first, 7 years of our marriage, maybe. He was very much about surprising me, and he'll get hotel rooms and do all the rose petals and do all of the things, right? But then there was a season of our life where, like I said, he lost his job, so then he went kind of into a depression, and that kind of changed him a little bit. He lost his confidence a little bit, and then he was kind of working overtime to kind of make up, and so he's tired. And so I would tell him you're not doing the things you used to do. I feel like when it comes to us planning trips and stuff, I'm always doing it. But I had to also understand, okay, well, we've shifted, right? Whereas before, when we first started, we were younger. We both had, our jobs and all these different things. In this season of our life, I might just have to plan the trips. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that he can kind of get back into the groove of it.
Exactly.
So for our 10-year anniversary, he showed up. And he did all the things that I'm used to him doing. But I stood with him through all of that. So I just say, play your strengths in every season. It's real for men to get depressed and stuff like that or whatever. Sometimes you just gotta pick up
100%. Yeah.
But so y'all listen, this show has been so good today. I hope that you have gotten something from what we shared today that encourages you and inspires you when it comes to love and marriage. If you are not married yet and you want to get married, sis, don't give up. Keep holding on to hope. Know that there are good men out there, like me and Shonda's husbands, right? I mean, you can't have ours, but there are men out
And
there.
if you're single, enjoy your single season. It's a blessing, not a burden.
Yes. And then if you are currently married and you're in a tough season, just know that tough seasons do not last always. If you have a good spouse, a good man, hold on to him, okay? Ride through the storm and know that y'all will be stronger together on the other side. All right, so this is She Wins Radio Show, y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure that you tune in every Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also make sure that you visit SheWinsSociety.com to learn everything that we are doing to empower and unite women of color around the world. Again, this is Coach Andromeda. I so appreciate you for tuning in with me today. And until next time, keep growing, keep glowing, and keep on winning.